Well, the news that up to 100 civilians may have been held hostage for more than a month in the city of Chernihiv has again led to claims that Russian troops have committed war crimes in Ukraine. Investigators from across Europe have started to gather evidence that may build the case for trials. But what constitutes a war crime? And how can those responsible be brought to justice? Well, Richard J. Goldstone is the former chief prosecutor at the United Nations International Criminal Tribunals for Yugoslavia and Rwanda. Judge Goldstone, thank you very much for joining us. Given what has taken place so far, did you believe, as many leading international politicians have said, that war crimes have been committed in Ukraine?
I don't think there can be any doubt that the most serious war crimes have been committed and appear today still to be committed by the Russian military in Ukraine.
Is it frozen or...? OK, well, you were a key figure in past war crimes tribunals. Ukraine, though, is a very digital war. Everyone is potentially a witness, filming evidence. Perhaps there are hundreds and thousands of photos on phones. Gathering evidence is a huge task, isn't it?
Well, there's a huge amount of evidence. The eyewitnesses, the photographs, the journalists' reports, journalists who are on the scene from many countries around the world. And importantly, the satellite images, and perhaps even more important, I'm sure the intelligence reports of conversations that have taken place between the Russian leaders.
Do you think that this conflict is different, those to ones that you have been involved with in the past, like Rwanda, like former Yugoslavia, because of digitalisation?
You know, no two situations are the same, but there certainly are similarities between what's going on now in Ukraine with what went on in Bosnia and Herzegovina in the middle 1990s, when the most serious war crimes were committed by the Bosnian Serb army in particular, including the genocide, the massacre at Srebrenica.
You mentioned genocide there. What constitutes genocide in war terminology? And to what extent do you think it might be applied to the invasion of Ukraine?
Well, genocide is defined in the Genocide Convention, which has become part of customary international law. It's binding on every state in the world. And it's defined in the convention and international law as a deliberate attack on a people in order to destroy a people or part of a people on, for example, national or ethnic or religious grounds, and any atrocity crime committed with that intent, and that intent would have to be proven, is guilty of the crime of genocide. Whether genocide has been committed in the Ukraine is still a question, it seems to me, of some doubt, although with every attack that is made by the Russian military on innocent civilians in the Ukraine, it is looking more and more like genocide because of the systematic attacks that are being carried out.
And to what extent will that affect the speed at which the tribunals will take place and those responsible will be brought to justice? I mean, talk to us about the timeframes, ensuring those responsible are held accountable.
Well, it would be guessing on my part to give a time frame. It takes time to get the evidence collected, and the prosecutor has to issue the indictment on the basis of evidence that he or she can actually produce in court. So that takes time, but of course the greatest time is going to be taken in getting the people accused into court. Whether it's President Putin or his senior generals, they're obviously not going to give themselves up willingly for trial in The Hague before the International Criminal Court or before domestic tribunals that may be set up on the basis of universal jurisdiction. So it's a question really, as happened in the Yugoslavia tribunal. One had to wait for a mini revolution, getting rid of President Milosevic, before he was sent to stand trial in The Hague. So how long that's going to take in Russia is anybody's guess.
So we have to wait to the end of the conflict and then find a way for Putin, if he's still around, to be deposed. This sounds like it could be months, years. It's an extraordinarily long process.
No, it can be. As I say, one is really guessing in deciding on that. But in the meantime, if President Putin is indicted as a war criminal, that would seriously restrict his ability to move around the international community. He would be subject to arrest in certainly well over 100 states that are members of the International Criminal Court.